Hello, everyone. I'm Kero, the coordinator of Membership Voice, and it's great to have you with us tonight. Ryan Beasley, are you doing your club thing live tonight?
Yes, we are doing our club thing live, and in fact, if very carefully, I can show you everybody yell out from Gloucester Rotary Club.
Hey, everyone. Great to see you. Welcome to Membership Voice.
Good to see you all.
I want at this stage to acknowledge the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, who are the traditional custodians of the land on which I'm hosting tonight's webinar. I acknowledge the strength of their continuing culture and offer my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Andy, if you'd like to present, please, on why is there no Rotary Club in this town? Over to you.
Okay, let's go. I'll share some interesting stories with you. Hi, Jesse. Good to see you, and good to see you, Ewan. So, where in the world do you know where Evans Head is? I wonder how many people know where Evans Head is. So, just to make it easy, it's actually south of Byron Bay and north of Yamba in New South Wales. That's the easiest one to see. But all those red dots are where we have Rotary clubs. We have 8 Rotary clubs within 40 kilometers radius of Evans Head. And that's a beautiful little town. I never knew about it till last year, October. And so they call it the Jewel of the Valley, which is the Richmond Valley. And so I was on a visit to a club called Casino, the beef capital of Australia. And that was on a Monday evening. And in the morning, the past district governor Terry, who lives in Casino from the Lismore Club, and the president of the Casino Club came and asked me that I'd like to go on a tour and that they would like to take me to Evans Head. I didn't even know. And I'm from Burleigh Head. So they said, we'll show you a better headland. And that's where they took me to the lookout. And looking down, that's what we saw. And I asked Terry and Jeff Austin, why is there no Rotary Club in this town? I mean, this looked very nice. I saw the rooftops. And they said, Andy, for the last 3 years, we have been talking about starting a Rotary Club here. We have 8 clubs within the 40 kilometer radius, 40 kilometer, but they couldn't find someone to start the club. I told them, okay, how about going downtown? Take me to the town. I'm a marketeer. In marketing, our mindset is trained to go, when we go to a new town, to take a walk, feel the breath, the air, the sweat, and the feel, the vibe of the town before we even go to sell anything. And that's what I did, walked up and down. And that's the only main street of the whole town of Evans Head. 3,000 people, but that's all. Because you got a Kempro pharmacy and all that. And after walking twice up and down, I walked into this colorful office of LJ Hooker, you could see with the purple. And I walked in, and the beautiful lady at the reception asked me, yes, can I help you? I asked her, is there a Rotary Club in this town? She said, never heard of. I said, I'm Andy. I'm the district governor for Rotary for this area, and I'm from Burleigh Heads. Oh, she said, I was there in Burleigh Heads yesterday. I said, Burleigh Heads has a Rotary Club. How come you don't have one? I said, can I meet your boss? I want to start a Rotary Club here. She said, yes. Went in 2 minutes, I was in front of this wonderful man. And I introduced myself again. I'm Andy, the district governor for Rotary for this area. Why is it that you don't have a Rotary Club? He said, I don't know anything about Rotary. Andy, I'm the vice president of the local business chamber, and we can't find members. So I told him, Brian, I can help you to find members for your chamber. He asked me how. I said, start a Rotary Club. Because the people who are in the Rotary Club, they may be having businesses. So businesses become members of the chamber, and your chamber members can become members of the Rotary Club. Perfect match. Oh, he said, I don't have any time. I said, it's okay. I asked him, can you be my community champion? He asked, what do you mean? I said, just bring some people together and help me to launch this club. He said, I can do that. Now, while all this was happening, Terry and Jeff were looking for me. This is Jeff Austin walking, looking for me on one side. I disappeared into LJ Hooker. But Terry found me. And as Terry walked in, this gentleman stood up and greeted Terry and said, hi, Terry, haven't seen you in a long time. So the story that I didn't know is that Terry and this Brian O'Farrell, the owner of LJ Hooker had known each other for 10 years because past Governor Terry was renting his holiday home in Evans Head through LJ Hooker for 10 years, but they never spoke about Rotary. So it just takes someone to come. And he said, at that moment when Terry walked in, he said, hey, you know, Andy and Terry, next Sunday, we are having our first business expo. Would you like to take a stall? I made a quick decision as governor. I said, yes, I'll take a stall. Give me a stall. He said, okay, let me ask the chamber and come back to you. So I told him, okay, Brian, with a stall or without a stall, I will be there with my team next Sunday. And I said, okay, we are going for a coffee down. Went to the coffee shop just down the street. And while having coffee, planning what we're going to do, in 15 minutes, this gentleman walks up there and says, okay, the chamber is willing to give you a free stall. You can come. So we planned our plan to come back in a week. And this is what happened. In 6 days, we were at the first business expo of Evans Head. So what we planned is, I had the president of the Casino Rotary Club, a nearby club, past Governor Terry. I told them at the coffee shop, get a team. I'll come on the Saturday, train your team. We need a crack team. We need to know what we are saying, how we are saying, and how we present ourselves. And that's what you see. We went around. This is my assistant governor. We invited him to join, past Governor Terry, and we went around. We went around talking to the stall holders. And I was working on the CEO of the council. That's the CEO of the council. And then this was our stall. We had one of the best looking stalls and best looking people, well dressed. Actually, our Rotary t-shirts, we have to wear for events that are non-Rotary events. And people did see us, but we went and told them about Rotary. Nobody had heard about Rotary in that town. 8 Rotary clubs within 40 kilometers radius. And this is the lady who was at the reception of LJ Hooker, and her husband owns the news agency. And these are my 2 community champions. This gentleman in a blue shirt is the owner of LJ Hooker. And he happens to be the father of this lady who was at the reception. That's why I got the quick entry, had to meet him. And the other gentleman is the president of the Evans Head Business Chamber. And after having seen us there, talking and walking around, he invited me to speak in 5 minutes to introduce Rotary. I just grabbed the opportunity. And that's what, when you're a governor, you get those opportunities. I said, yes. And after listening to what I said, I asked them, I told them, we have 8 Rotary clubs around. How come Evans Head missed out on Rotary? And after that, he was happy, I think, from what I said. He said, okay, guys, we are giving you lunch and free beer. And then he told me, Andy, we produce a magazine every year in December. He said, if you like, I'll give you half a page in the magazine, which is going into print in December later, and you can have. So within about 3 days, we got an artwork from our assistant public image chair in the district. She turned it up. By then, we had already had our first meeting, and we put the picture of the people who came for the first meeting. And in that picture is also, if you see, this is at that time, she was a governor nominee. She's now the governor-elect. This is the president of the Ballina Rotary Club, which is about 40 kilometers away. He is now the governor nominee of our district and the assistant governor. So, had a team there coming to see how we form a club. And they were at the first meeting when I launched it. And this is the second meeting. So it's a chamber, and we did a lot of Facebook marketing for the people to come in. And the third meeting was chaired by a president. In my second meeting itself, we elected a president for the club to lead. The gentleman in the yellow shirt, is the man who said he has no time for Rotary, and who owns LJ Hooker, who owns LJ Hooker Real Estate. And at that meeting, we asked how many of you would like to join Rotary. And this is the assistant governor getting the forms filled to join Rotary. Everyone said, yes, we want to join. And so much so, the owner of the Kempro pharmacy couldn't make it. He saw me on the street and he gave me his details and said, Andy, I can't make it, but I want to join the Rotary Club. So in 60 days, we had our charter members. And this is the owner of LJ Hooker. president of the Casino Rotary Club that I invited to sponsor, and the assistant governor for that area. And this lady had gone on RILA, and she's a science teacher of the only high school there. And she said, I want to join a Rotary Club. I want a Rotary Club here to send my students to the science forum. And this is the principal of the school, who have been there for 20 years. And he's also the vice principal of the school's, the Principals Association of New South Wales. He came there having seen our Facebook marketing, and met me, and he said, Andy, I have no time to join, but can you give me 5 minutes to address the community? And he told the community why they should start a Rotary Club for the sake of the young people of their town, to open opportunities for the young people. And it sat very well with my Rotary president, Holger's theme, Rotary opens opportunities. And he persuaded the people to start a Rotary Club. So he did my job, actually. And on the 21st of January, we signed the charter application. And they were very happy. That's the president and the secretary. And on the 28th of January, we chartered the club, Evans Head Rotary Club. For 3 years, people were talking about going there, but we were able to get the club off the ground. Now, one of the first projects the club did was to join the baton relay to celebrate 100 years of Rotary. And I think most of you know that for the 100 years of Rotary, and a baton would not make much impact in our community. And I borrowed an idea that came to me from the Rotary Club of Balnon, Richmond. And we said a baton relay with a cause. And the cause was Rotary Say No to Domestic Violence. And that really had a huge impact right across our district. And it was the current district governor nominee, Dave Harmon, and his wife, who met me and said, would you like to take this project across the district? And I said, yes. And this club joined. And this is the very street that I walked on the 19th of October, looking at opportunities to start a club. And the community came together to say no to domestic violence. In December 2021, Evans Head Rotary Club led, for the first time, they organized a Christmas festival for the whole town to come together and meet. This is a town of 3,000 people and 10,000 tourists. It's a holiday town, and most of the people, rich people who live in Casino, Lismore, like our past governors, they have holiday homes there, and they go there for the seaside. And they brought the town, the people into the town, and you can see the kids, the parents, and all those who live. And it's the first time they had an activity like this, which was led by the Rotary Club. And they had, in the night, they had fireworks, which the town had never had. And this is the street, and this is a hotel, which has come alive because of the Rotary Club. In March this year, the entire Evans Head was flooded. I don't know whether you know. You would have heard 75% of my district went underwater. So Evans Head, Lismore, Ballina, Casino, all were flooded. And when the floods came in, it was the Rotarians who gave leadership for the evacuation and support to the victims of floods. They ran the evacuation center because the Rotary Club was the only community organization in Evans Head. And the people knew each other. They had worked with them. They did the Christmas parade. They did the baton relay. So here we really saw Rotary coming into action at a crisis. And up to date, they are leading the rehabilitation and coming back, the town coming back. And this is the only supermarket in the town, Spa supermarket. And this went underwater. And this supermarket services 3-4 towns in the area called Broadwater and Korakai, between Evans Head and Casino. And the Rotarians quickly went in, and the wives of Rotarians and the members, and they cleaned the supermarket out and restocked it within 48 hours and got clothes and things. And the editor of the Rotary Down Under went on a tour of Ballina, Casino, Lismore, and to Evans Head. And she met the owner of this supermarket, who has a supermarket in Ballina, and had introduced herself saying, we are from Rotary. He had said, oh, wonderful, come here. You guys are fantastic. These Rotarians in Evans Head came and helped me come back in 48 hours to service the city. And he was not a Rotarian. He didn't know anything. He only saw the Rotarians in action. and was telling the editor of the RDU magazine what a lot of work Rotary did. And I think that is public image. And that is PR. And I think, if past Governor Terry had not taken me there, if I had not walked into LJ Hooker, if I had not asked, why is there no Rotary Club in this town? I think Rotary would have failed, Evans Head. And there are 12,000 suburbs in Australia. We have only, I think, Jesse, we only about 1,040 Rotary clubs. So it's very important that we expand our reach really by our actions, by introducing Rotary to towns where we don't have Rotary clubs. So the key takeaway is, I always say it's easier to build a new house than renovate an old house. It's easier to build a new Rotary club in a new town than trying to attract 1 or 2 new members to existing Rotary club. And I see there's a lot of effort and courage that we put in our Rotarians to try to bring in clubs, bring in members and, resurrect clubs. But it's not enough. I think we need to have a purpose and a direction. I had a clear purpose as governor that year. The purpose was to grow my district. And the direction was to grow by starting new style clubs. And it happened. And I'll share with you very quickly. My main focus was to concentrate on new demographics, new areas, the new people that come into our suburbs. And we did a study of this in 2016 under the leadership of this past governor, Michael Irving. And I was his membership chair, and he's a scientist. And he said, let's do a scientific study of every suburb in our district. Where are the younger people? Where are the females who we need in our district? And it continued. And I just mastered it over the next years. And one goal I had was to start 5 new clubs. And that was a goal. And we could do this. So in 2020, that's how we did start 5 clubs. Evans Head was not in that plan. So planning is essential. Plans are not necessary. You must be able to change the plan. We started 2 satellite clubs, 3 Rotaract clubs, 1 Interact club, and a Rotex club. Tell me in the book of Rotary, any other club model that we can start. We can do, but all these 12 clubs did not come on the 1st of July my year. It started like when I was district governor nominee, working with a team, and we had practiced doing all this. So we were a world-class champion team. But what it did was, when we started new clubs, the other clubs also got enthusiastic, and they had peer pressure to grow, to change and grow. If you see, my existing clubs grew by 59, and the 5 new clubs gave us 116 new members. I got twice as much members that 29 clubs gave me, but 50% of my clubs grew, which is good. But these new clubs gave us twice as much, and that's how we ended up with a huge plus 169 members. But see, what it did to our district was it changed the demographics. We ended up with 10% under 40s, 38% females. It diversified our district. And as you see, we have been starting clubs from 2017. It's not only my year. We have been doing this club building, starting new clubs. So lastly, this is what happened is, as a leader, I had a very clear vision. And I was able to sell it to every leader in my club, in my district, and the clubs. I had one focus, one goal, and one team. I was like the cox of the 8-member rowing team. Cox is really not the captain, but the cox is the only one who sees the direction of the boat. You know that all the 8 rowers are rowing backwards? Cox works for the team, but does not row. Cox harnesses the energy and the rhythm of the team to get the best power to lead the team to victory. And the team has total confidence in the Cox. And Cox is one of the non-playing members of a sport that gets a medal at the Olympics, because it plays a very critical role in rowing. And as a team, we were able to become the 25th largest growth district in the world in 2020, 2021. Not because it was me, we are sure I was the inspiration. I was the strategist, like the Cox. So Cox is a strategist. And we grew by 14.4%. and a plus 169. No district in Australia or New Zealand in 100 years have grown like this. It's because of a massive team effort, but the team was built 3 years before my year. It didn't come on the 1st of July. And this is something we have done. And I want to share this to inspire you that any one of us can do. My district, we never competed with any Australian or New Zealand districts. We were not in the Commonwealth Games. We were competing with my best friend's District 3640 in Korea, who was also like 1,250 members, but he grew by 35% because I always wanted to compete. My team, I said, we will play in the Olympics. We want to be in the global stage. And for you, those of you who are free, you're welcome to join a membership, Making Membership Memorable Summit we're having on the 23rd. Adrian will be with us as a facilitator. I know Janice is coming. And it's a great speaker who will be a speaker at the convention. He was one of the best speakers at the International Assembly where I went, Jason Brown, and he's speaking about making M&Ms. And Tony, you can fly into Australia now. It's on the 23rd, one day. And for those of you, we have DG David McPherson. I am conducting 3 workshops, 1-hour workshops on starting new style clubs. In 3rd of April in Benalla, in 9790, David McPherson has invited me. 30th of April in Sydney, DG Janice Hall, who is here, has invited me. And on the 1st of May in Adelaide, DG Paul Thomas has invited, and they've all given 60 minutes of time about new style clubs. And I believe new style clubs will be the future of Rotary. And Evans Head is a new style club. They meet once a month, but see what they do. Yes, I'm ready for questions. I'm sure you'll have, but please ask me and get the best out of me. And Adrian and Jesse are the ones who have brought me into this role to be the Assistant Rotary Coordinator to help create new style clubs. I'm so happy that all the governor-elects and governors are on board with us. Let's go for some questions, Kiro. It's working.
Yeah, Andy, I'm in New Zealand and I have just started a new club. Kiro was there last week. We launched online, but we weren't going to let COVID over here stop us. But it's really interesting. I'd love to be able to, I won't be flying over to Australia just yet. So can you give us some Zoom options for some of your workshops and your other speaker that you were talking about?
About the workshops, I'll have to discuss with DG is who are organizing it. That's David McPherson and Janice. But the speaker, yes, we will have a YouTube video of his whole presentation. We have a YouTube channel called Rotary Coach. So we will have it and we will give you the links.
Oh, lovely. Thank you.
Thanks, Deb. Thanks, Andy. Now over to David McPherson with another important question.
Sorry, Andy, in the 5 minutes that you had to market Rotary, what actually did you say to market Rotary?
Oh, at Evans Head at the business chamber. At the business chamber, what I told them is, I told them that there are more Rotary clubs in Australia than McDonald's outlets, and how come that we don't have one in Evans Head? And there are 8 Rotary clubs around. And I said that what Rotary does is connects people. And they came there to connect businesses. And I said, we connect the people and the people's hearts, so that we can take action immediately in a community. And that's what they demonstrated with the Christmas parade and the floods. And I have had the chamber president calling me after the floods 4 days later, and he said, Andy, thank you on behalf of the people of Evans Head for starting a Rotary Club here. We never saw the vision that you had for our town. So you don't have much, in an elevator pitch. It's very, very short just to grab their attention. Having 1.2 million members in 36,000 clubs doesn't attract any traction there in a big audience like that. So you need to quickly use some very key words that they like to hear. And I'm sure I'm going to share with you, David, when I see you on the first days. And, Kiro, I like to, at this moment, we have a very important guest with us, and you may not have seen her much. Lisa, are you available to come on camera?
Is that Lisa Hunt?
Lisa Hunt.
Ah,
Lisa,
yes.
yeah.
From Camilla River.
Hello. Yes.
Lisa, I'd like to introduce Lisa. Is our district governor nominee designate.
Oh,
A
wow.
wonderful member of the membership team from the Kumara River Rotary Club. And Jessie has met her because she was my conference chair who did a fantastic one-day conference.
Thank you, Andy.
Welcome, Lisa. Nice to have you
Thanks,
here.
Caro, and thank you for your support. Here's the hairdo. Everything cut off for cancer the last weekend. So, yeah.
How much did you raise?
It's still ticking over. It's about 2,800 at the moment, heading to
Wow.
3,000. My goal was 500 because I said it when the floods started and I wanted people to direct funds to the floods. But I'm very grateful for my work community, AV Jennings. So they staff from around Australia have been throwing money into it. So it's been very, feel very humble and very grateful for the support. So, yeah.
And Lisa will be our governor 24-25. She was a youth exchange student, Rotary YP student, Rotoractor.
GSE to Sweden. So
Good.
I've got up to a little bit of mischief. But, yeah, I started in Rotaract in one of our Sydney districts in the Camden-Narellan area. So that was my home base and my stomping ground for my Rotary journey. So, yeah.
Thank you.
It's, been really good. So... But yeah, look, the new style clubs and Evans Head, just with the floods and stuff, like all of our clubs, our Rotarians everywhere, has been phenomenal. And we have our conferences, our expo this weekend out at Tenterfield, which is a take two because we couldn't get out there 2 years ago because of COVID. So it's nice to go back to country.
All right, Kiro. Any other questions?
Oh, yes, we've got they're queuing up. We have one from New Zealand, from ARC Tony Hayward.
Tony can ask.
Thanks, Kiro. Andy, I was just wondering if you could share with the group about the importance of forming partnerships and the benefits for Rotary. I think that's an area that we undercook and underrate. And I see a lot of clubs where they think they've got to do it all themselves, and it's quite a heavy load to lift. So what are the benefits of those partnerships, and how would you...
I will give one or two examples, but I know Jessie has spoken about partnering with other organizations all the time. And so one of the partnerships are essential. I think collaboration is the way forward in the future. There's no way that an organization like Rotary can survive. We have to collaborate with other organizations to leverage our impact. And one of the partnerships that came out of the Rotary Baton Relay Say No to Domestic Violence is that the New South Wales Police Commissioner called one of our clubs. The club that was leading was Balnon Richmond, called the president of that club, Dave Harmon, and asked, can we partner with you on this project? Because this is a very key area for New South Wales Police. And they had meetings, and I was around, but our borders were closed. And so that's what we have, assistant governors and past governors. They had the meeting while I was the governor, and they said yes. And we agreed to give them umbrellas branded Rotary and New South Wales Police Say No to Domestic Violence. And those umbrellas would be in the first respondent police cars. So 150 police cars in New South Wales would have them. And within 4 days, we saw in a newspaper, policeman in the rain having the umbrellas open. As a marketing person, I saw the big picture. You only need one umbrella to get on newspaper or TV. The branding, the partnership. And it was very important for the police to come on board with Rotary because we are all first responders in some way or the other in the community. And that led to the New South Wales Police partnership that we had. It led to the Queensland Police Commissioner inviting us to join. And on the 8th of April, with the district governor and me, we are presenting another 150 umbrellas to the Queensland Police Commissioner at their headquarters. And they are willing to partner with us, but we need to show the people, community, that we are partnering with large organizations. In New South Wales side, we have also gone into a MOU to partner with PCYC. And I don't know whether you know, PCYC was formed by the Sydney Rotary Club. as police Rotary youth clubs. And later in the 1950s, we handed it to the police. So I think, Jesse, you may want to add a little more on the partnership because you have written and spoken so much.
Only to say, Andy, that I think it's incredibly important. I think it is the way that we leverage our impact. And I don't think by partnering with others, we in any way diminish ourselves. You know, I think that we leverage everything that we have to offer.
And I have another example if you want. Tony, when the floods came in, we had district membership chair 9675 Renga Rajan. He led a team of members from the Hindu Association. They came into Grafton because they had no accommodation beyond, and he called me and wanted a connection into Lismore. And I connected him with past Governor Terry in Lismore, and they brought in dry rations and cooked 1,000 meals a day for 5 days for the SCS volunteers and the others who were volunteering because there were no shops open. And I think one of the directors are coming in this week. And Renga, you may want to can I ask Renga in 2 minutes to say it's a great partnership that is leading the Hindu Association of Australia partnering with us.
Yeah. Thank you, Andy. Yes, when we reach Grafton, we don't know where to go. So then I spoke to Andy and he connected with Terry. Now Hindu Council of Australia and Terry become a one family. They had a trust on Terry and Rotary. Even though I'm part of Rotary for a long time, I find it difficult to pitch the Rotary brand inside the Hindu Council. When the moment they saw the work of Rotarians helping hand, now they're completely trusting on Rotary brand, completely trusting on Terry. In fact, there are 4 members from the Hindu Council, simply adopt Terry and Carol as our parents. That is the relationship we built in 4 days.
Terry Brown is a past district governor.
In fact, other way around. Terry has shown that leadership and the way of how do you want to collaborate and volunteering work. So everybody was inspired. So we simply adopt them as our parents in Australia.
Yeah, I've got an interesting question there from Ewan Miller about traditional clubs out west. So over to you, please, Ewan.
Sorry. Thanks, Kero and Andy. Kero, Andy, in your western part of your district, I understand you've got a lot of small clubs, maybe sort of traditional clubs who aren't growing. And I just wondered, have you had any thoughts about what you might do to try and stimulate Rotary in the western part of your district?
Western part of my district actually has one of the biggest clubs in Gundawindi with 40 members. And closer to Gundawindi is Stanthorpe, which has 2 clubs, 20 and 25 members, which is 45 in a small area, the Apple capital. And Tenterfield that Lisa spoke to is just on the New South Wales side. That's the most western part. That club has 25 members in a very small town.
Yep.
And then we have another club, Stanthorpe has 2, in Warwick has a very 2 clubs, 20 members and 18 members. That's a club that, if you remember, I resurrected from 4 members to grow to a 17-member club. So actually our western part have grown quite well.
Oh, it has. Okay.
Yeah, Gundawindi had a membership of almost 48. But the Gundawindi also has the largest number of couples in a club.
Mm-hmm. So
what happened is, I think 2 couples left Gundawindi, so that 4 people left. And Gundawindi has a member who has been a Rotarian for 60 years.
Mm.
So it has grown. But we have only about 6 clubs that are below 10 members in our district.
Right. And where are they? Are they on the coast then, or are they further west?
We have Byron Bay is a small club.
Oh, right.
And Allora is a small one. It was 4 members. Byron Bay 8. So other than that, the rest of the clubs are okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
It's actually what happens even is, I think we have a very good membership support team, and I think our district has had a culture of working with clubs. and supporting clubs. And we even recently in my year at my visit to one club, I was not visiting clubs below 10 members. I told them, come together. And these two clubs came together with 8 and 9 members. And at that meeting, we initiated a discussion on merging the two clubs because they had a challenge. They couldn't get a guest speaker, but they met in the same venue, one on a Monday evening, the other on a Tuesday evening. So at my governor visit, they came together. We initiated a discussion and handed the discussion to the assistant governor. And just last month, the two clubs merged, and that club is now 19 members.
Great idea.
Just said something a moment ago, Andy, that begs the question. Byron Bay, booming community, interesting place, only 8 Rotarians. Is there an area of opportunity for a bit more magic there?
It is. Yeah, there is. You know, any town for me is an area of opportunity because I told you there are 12,000 suburbs in Australia and 1,040 clubs do not do justice to our organization. We need to be visible. We need to create bigger impact. And we can only do that if our presence is felt right across. So you know, Byron Bay, yeah, it's a very good opportunity because it's a very yuppie crowd. So, you know, the clubs do a lot of work. That club does a lot of work in the community, but something is not attracting newer members. So those are the issues we have. We can do all our public image. We can do all the membership support, but eventually our product is a club. People come to a club and decide, do I want to be part of it? So that's why the new style clubs are needed to attract a new generation, a new group of people whose demands are different, whose perception is different, whose expectation is different. And but when you start, like most of our clubs, and Lisa has seen it, has changed because of the newer clubs. The traditional clubs are changing. It's called peer pressure.
Yes.
But we will work on Byron Bay very soon.
Super. The Rotary scape is changing, and it continues to change. Well, Director Jessie, you want to say something?
I just wanted to pick up on Ewan's comment and maybe issue a bit of a challenge to the bright minds in the room. You know, I think we do have Rotary clubs, very long established Rotary clubs that are in small towns, rural and remote towns, and the towns themselves are declining. And I think we have to find a model of Rotary that enables us to retain those members, you know, in clubs that are just 4 or 5, so that they can still be part of Rotary but not have to constantly battle to find a president, a secretary, treasurer. I know that New Zealand is trying something quite interesting with the new Rotary Club of Tangatamangata or Tugger. Forgive me, Deb. I get it right sometimes and not others. But I'd love the clever people in the room to be thinking about what is that future model that's going to enable us to capture those small groups of people and let them still be part of Rotary without the big burden of having to have a club per se.
Thanks, Jessie. Renga, you have a question.
Where's Renga?
Yes, it's not a question. I want to share a small experience. Today, I got a call from one of the district in London, 1130. The past district governor, Tony, was a good friend of mine, and he invited me for their membership team meeting tomorrow morning, their time tonight, 8 o'clock, and our time tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock. And they have some interesting model. Because he was a district governor in 2018 or 19, and after that his club was almost dead. So he decided to take the presidentship. So he revived the club almost to like 100% new members. So he wanted to share their experience. What he said is because they're meeting on the afternoon lunchtime, a lot of people, they can't able to attract any new members in the lunchtime. So what he did is he created a satellite club, the evening club. So those satellite club members can meet in the evening, and once in a month they go for a common meeting. So that's where that model has been successful in one or 2 clubs. Now they're extending to other clubs, so the district is growing. So that's a great one. And from my experience last 8 months, what we found is when we got the membership lead from the RI website, If we contact the candidate immediately and assign the candidate to the clubs, then the success rate is very high. I'll give you an example. Tomorrow evening, I'm going to take 4 new members to one particular club. 2 through website and through my contact. When we spoke to them and I explained what is Rotary and all those things, they are interested. And I send a request to the club, and they are also very positive. And I asked the president, can you assign the buddy for each new member or the potential member? So immediately she put a buddy for these 4 people. So as soon as we reach there, those buddies will take care of them, then explain the club's culture and what is Rotary and all those things. Then after that, they need to do the follow-up so that they can become a full members.
Thanks, Ringa. Appreciate that. We have another question for you, Andy, this time from my own club president, Alan Briggs. Over to you, please, Alan.
Hi, Andy. It's been great listening to your great progress you've been making over there.
Thank you.
I'm president of the EWA over here, and one of the things we keep scratching our heads about is how to grow our membership. And I was just wondering if you would have any advice on how online clubs might be able to increase their membership, and I've got a feeling you're going to talk about collaboration. What do you think?
So online clubs, you're talking about the e-club models that would meet only online, not a hybrid. I think online clubs have the greatest potential of increasing membership, right? Because it doesn't matter which part of the world you're in. You can grow. Like in my district, one of the largest growth that I have seen in this Rotary year was the Rotary E-Club, which have grown by 9 members. But there's another club in the adjoining 9620 district north of me, the Global Midwives and Nurses Club. They have 36 members and they have grown, and they have people all around. And that's one of the largest growth clubs we have. So I think, Alan, the potential in the current scenario, potential is more for online club to grow. But I think you need to focus which demographic gets attracted to an online club. It's not for everyone. And so, but just to tell you, I have already got a team ready in your district under District Governor-elect Rick McDonald. And this is in Kiros District 9465. And we have a team, one specializing in corporate clubs and one on passport clubs. And District Governor-elect Rick wants to grow the district by 26%, which is ambitious, but it's okay. We have to set very high goals. 50% of that will be 13%, which is good. And on that topic, I don't know, Kira, I like to share. I don't know whether you know that out of 1,040 clubs, there are only 51 clubs in the whole of Australia that has more than 50 members. And out of 1,040 clubs in Australia, there are only 50 clubs that have grown over the last 5 years by a plus 10 members. So we really have a lot of work to do. Growing by 1 or 2 is not enough for a zone to grow. And we are 25 million people. I told you 12,000 suburbs. So it's important. It's a challenge for us to walk into towns. But I think we need foot soldiers who will be brave enough to walk into towns and spread the message of Rotary, because people are waiting to hear. Like Evans said, just was waiting. And we need to prepare our communities now. And it is Rotary who can actually come forward and act on the ground very fast.
Andy, I've got a related question here that comes back to skills, because you are, bless your soul, you are seen to be a little bit superhuman by some around the traps. And I think Ewan's question goes to this. Over to you, please, Ewan.
Thanks, Kiro. Andy, we constantly get told, and Shaker's doing it again this year, that every Rotarian should bring another Rotarian into another potential member into Rotary, and our membership problem will be solved. But in my experience, only about 10% of any club, only about 10% of the members of any club have ever successfully introduced a new Rotarian, that we really rely on the few key people who've got the skills to do it. I just wondered, did you have that experience in 9640 and the team that you put together? You selected that on the basis of them being able to really encourage people to join Rotary and induct them.
Yeah, Ewan. If everyone brings one, I don't know how many of us here have introduced a member this year. I did to my club, and that member introduced another member, and the new member introduced another. So, it can work very well. I know Shekhar has wisdom and is happening in India. But when I put a team together, I actually pick the best in different skills. You need different people. Now, like if you saw Evans Head, yes, I went and started, but I had past Governor Terry, I had assistant governor. So you need to take them along with you. And then, they are the ones who would nurture. So even bringing a new member through the door to a club is the first job. But then how do you hold them in the club? Is that I know my own club, Burley Heads, when I joined it, we had only 22 members. And then I remember bringing people, but then we created a environment where the other members would sit with them and help them follow what's happening in a club. That we bring new members and we have guests, but we continue doing our Rotary protocols, forgetting that there's a guest who does not understand what a GSC is, what a DGN is, what a DGE is, all those things. So it's important to sit with them and mentor them quietly and say, this is why we are doing this. This is what it is, rather than we are with the members and the guests have to stay alone. And I have seen this, the guests are not even recognized sometimes by the chairs. So it's a big team that you need. So across the district, Lisa knows, she's part of our membership team. She's our extension chair in the district at the moment. And so, you need the different skills. You need leadership skills, you need soft skills, you need diplomatic skills, you need educational skills, who will help people to understand, learn, and guide them. So it's a long process, one. But I think every district has those skills, people. But the hallmark of a leader is to select those people and bring them into a team. It's like a rowing team. It's not everyone, 1 to 8 does not row the same way. So it's, you as a cox, you need to know which one to call. It's like orchestra. I think Jesse knows, in orchestra, you bring so many different skills together for a beautiful music. And if one fails, that music can fail.
Thanks.
Andy, David McPherson made a comment, which I think is a question disguised as a comment about small community and cause-based clubs. David, would you like to expand on that?
Sure. Okay. Yeah, Andy, I come from a small town of about 9,000 people, and I grew up in an even smaller town of about 3,000 people. So I know small towns, and all small towns tend to have other groups. Groups focused on hospitals, groups focused on cemeteries, groups focused on any, you name it, P&A society, whatever. So they could very easily be Rotary clubs. So I think the challenge might be in the community, find one of these causes, I suppose, within that community and form a Rotary club to, focused around that cause, raise funds for that cause, and have fundraising events or have activities around that cause. For example, aged care, not just fundraising for aged care, but getting into the aged care and providing company for the older people and things like that. I think it lends itself to all sorts of things. So I think cause-based clubs in a smaller community would go across really well. Yes, David, I agree, and I'm sure we can discuss more when I see you next at the end of the month. We have a classic case, Ballina Richmond Rotary Club. Ballina is like your town, Vanilla. You have about 50 odd members in your club, and Ballina in New South Wales has 9,000 people, and that's the only Rotary Club there. And the club now has 69 members, but
they started a satellite club for people living inside a retirement village. They were all corporate leaders, and actually I pitched the satellite club to them, and we had it because they were trying to start it inside the community, and the community body corporate would not allow. So we said, why not? I suggested, why not bring them out? And we brought them into a restaurant, and we said, once a month, how about coming to a restaurant and having lunch? Because they get to know each other. Although they live in the community, they don't know each other. And this was a way to have a little bit of fun outside and meet the people. But that satellite club's main project is volunteering in an elder's home, reading, cooking and cleaning and doing stuff. And during the floods, they are the ones who actually cook the food. When the Balnon Richmond Parent Club, they did the hard work. These ones are all retired. And that satellite club has 23 members. It's the largest satellite club we have because there is no number for a satellite club. But they don't want all the hard work of a Rotary Club, but they are very focused in volunteering with the aged care. So you're right, David. We can have cause-based satellite clubs, cause-based clubs in smaller communities, highly focused onto area, because that helps. And nothing stops us starting one.
Andy, we're coming to the end of your wonderful hour. Thank you.
Thank you.
But there is a question I need to ask you, and this, we've been talking about potential and things we can do and its success and all that sort of stuff. But you mentioned something pretty important there a while ago about heart, that it's about connections from the heart in all of this. Now, when you started the Evans Head Rotary success story, you didn't know of the disasters, the natural disasters in store downstream. But I got an email from Dave Harmon about that success with the Evans Head success with restocking the supermarket. How did that make you feel as the guy who kicked the whole thing off? How did that make you feel when you saw what, if you like, your brand new baby Rotary Club was doing for that community that's so important? How did that make you feel?
Firstly, I was happy, but that is what I expected from Rotary Club. And that is what the vision that I had when I said we'll have a Rotary Club, is to create an impact and to connect the community. Once you connect the community, you won't believe the power, Kiro, the community has. The problems our communities have is we are not connected. We saw it through pandemic, the global pandemic. Now we have seen it through the floods. If the communities were connected, it would have been so easy. So I personally was happy, but that is exactly what I expected from the Rotary Club, is to rise to the occasion. And that is very important. And I think every Rotary Club needs to rise to the occasion. And these kind of crises allow us to create a bigger impact and reach out to the community rather than be inside our meeting rooms. It challenges us to be people of action. And that's what exactly they did. And this is the need of the hour that we have. I believe strongly that we have to start Rotary Clubs in every town that there is no Rotary Club. And this is a great example. I'm sharing this with you because this is a classic example of an impact a Rotary Club can create in a little town that's otherwise disconnected.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Kieran. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you all. Ron, nice to see you.
Well done.
Thank you.